Hi guys, welcome to today's video. Today we are going to be making a long skirt pattern. And what do you need for making this long skirt pattern? Number one, of course, you need your scissors. You need your measuring tape. We need a marker. We need a straight ruler. And we need a skirt curve ruler. You need your pattern paper. And you need a paper containing your measurements. What measurements do you need? You need your waist circumference, your waist to hip measurement, your hip circumference measurement at the widest part of your hips, your waist to knee measurement, and of course, your skirt length measurement. So get a long pattern paper, just like I have. The length of the paper should be the full length of your skirt, that is from your waist to your ankle length, plus 10 centimeters. The 10 centimeters is to give you enough space to be able to add your seam for sewing and then your hemming seam allowance. For the width of the skirt, measure your hip circumference divided by 4 and then add 10 centimeters. The 10 centimeters is to make allowance for the zip at the back and the front slit at the front, and also for your dart and for your seam allowance. So when you've done that, this is what I've done. Once you're done with that, you're going to take 5 centimeters. 5 centimeters. The 5 centimeters I've taken is for zip allowance and the slit at the front of the skirt. Now we're going to start with marking our waist to hip level, waist to knee level, and waist to ankle level. But before we start, you're going to mark 1.5 centimeters from the head. 1.5 centimeters. This is so that when you're sewing your lining, it will take up a little backwards when you're sewing your lining on the skirt. From that point, I'm going to measure my waist to hips, and my waist to hips is 28 cm, and I'm going to mark it. My waist to hips, and then I'm going to measure my waist to knee. My waist to knee is 55 cm. And then I will remove 5 cm upwards. For example, if your waist to your knee length is 40 inches or 20 inches, you're going to mark 18 on the paper, which is exactly what I'm doing. My waist to my knee is 50, 55, right here. So I'm going to go backwards. I've marked all my lines. Remember our 1.5 cm, the space you will give because of the sewing. Then I've marked my waist to hip line. I've marked the waist to knee line. Remember, this is my waist to knee, this particular line. But as I said, you remove 5 cm. This 5 cm is to help you when we are shaping the skirt so that you'll be able to have free movement. That is why you remove it. It's normally 2 inches, but in centimeters, it's 5 centimeters. So my waist to knee is here minus 5 centimeters. So this is where I'm going to be working with as my waist to knee. I've also marked my full skirt length right here. That's my full skirt length. So once you've gotten all these positions marked, we're now going to put our measurements. Remember that this pattern is on a fold. I wrote it here. This is where you're folding. When you're placing it on your material, you're folding the folded end of your material. You place it like that. And this is the zip panel for the front, and also the panel that we're going to use to do a slit for the front. Zip panel for the back. Sorry. So now I'm going to put my measurements for my waist, my hip, and then the knee circumference. Now, all your measurements for your waist and your hip, you divide it by 4. So for my waist, I'll get my measurement divided by 4, and I'm going to mark it on this waist line, directly on this waistline. And then my hips circumference divided by 4, and I'll mark it on this hip line. And when I come to the knee, I will subtract my hip circumference. What I got there, I'll subtract 5 cm or 2 centimeters, and then mark it on my knee line. I've marked all my measurements. On the waist, my waist circumference divided by 4 gave me 22 cm. I've marked 22 cm. My hip circumference divided by 4 is 31 cm. And then when you come to the knee, I subtracted 5 cm from 31. Or if you're using inches, subtract 2 inches from whatever you get from this your hip circumference divided by 4. Whatever you get, remove 2 inches. But because I'm using centimeters, I've removed 5 centimeters. 2 inches is equivalent to 5 centimeters. So that gave me 26 that I marked on this hip circumference area. The same thing I did for the bottom of the skirt. The same 26 at my skirt length. So the same 26 cm that I marked on my skirt length. So what we are going to do, I'm going to join all the dots together, and I'm going to be using my curve. I will join all the dots together. I've joined all my lines, as you can see, my waist to the hips and to the bottom of the skirt, and the skirt has taken shape. What we are going to do now, we are going to put allowances, starting at the waist. At the waist, I'm going to give 6 centimeters allowance. The reason I'm putting 6 centimeters right here is because we are going to need about 3 centimeters for the dart. 3 centimeters will go for the dart, or 3.5 centimeters. It depends on you. You could make it 3.5 centimeters for the dart, and then the remaining 2.5 will be the same allowance for sewing. Now we're going to be adding our allowance. We are going to add 6 cm at the waist, 3 cm at the hips, 3 cm at the knee, and then 3 cm also at the bottom of the skirt, and then I'm going to join all the lines together. Now that we've added our allowance, remember we added 6 cm at the waist. From that 6 cm, we're going to take away 3 cm or 3.5 cm for the dart. So the first thing I'm going to do before I do the dart is to shape the front of the skirt, because the front of the skirt normally is not straight, so we need to curve it. And what we are going to do now is so we're going to measure 1.5 cm from the folded end of the skirt, from this part of the skirt. You're going to mark 1.5 cm, and from there you're going to draw a line to join the curved end of the skirt, like so. And then we're going to use our curved ruler to make it into a sort of curve. It won't be straight like that. We try to curve it a little bit, make it curvy, because the front skirt is not normally so straight. So something like that. That is the front part of the skirt, but the back part of the skirt remains straight. When you're cutting the back part, I'll use another color. The back part of the skirt, we'll trace it as the straight side. I hope you can see the difference. So once that is done, we are now going to draw our darts. For the front dart, we are going to measure. We're going to measure from here. And what I have there is 23. It's 23, so I'm going to get half of 23. That is 11.5. That is where my dart is going to be the center of my dart. Now for the front dart, I'm going to come down 12 centimeters for the front dart. Then that's about 4 inches or so, 12 centimeters. And for the back dart, I'm going to come down 14 centimeters. So I've marked the two. And remember I said for the dart, we are removing 3 centimeters. So what I will do now is to divide the 3 centimeters in between the points. So that should be 1.5, 1.5. 1.5, 1.5. Let me be sure of what I'm doing. Yeah. So that is our dart. What we do now, I'm going to use different colors. For the dart of the front, I'm going to use black, which is shorter, and then join my points. This is my dart for the front. This is my dart for the front. Then I use another color. This is my dart for the back. So when you're tracing your back, you know the dart to trace for your back. I'll still label it. So this is front, that, and this is the back, that. So essentially we are done with our long African skirt. When you want to trace out your skirt, as I said initially, this is 5 cm. This is the 5 cm for your zip allowance for the back part of your skirt. So if you're tracing the back part of your skirt, you start from there. You start from there and you trace down to the end here, and down and right down, and then you trace out the green or whatever color you use to demarcate the dart for your back. If your front skirt does not have any cut or any slit, when you're tracing your front, you also trace from there, but you come down the curve. You come down the curve like so for the front, and then you trace the back dart for the front part of your skirt, and then you trace this line if you do not have a slit. But if you have a slit and you want a slit for the front part of your skirt, then you also trace to the end and then follow this line. Now for the zip, we also need to do a shape for the back of the skirt. We are not going to leave it straight like that. We are going to shape it a little bit to make room for the butt. So we are going to be shaping the back part of the skirt. That's the zip panel back part of the skirt. So the very first thing we are going to do, I'm going to take away 2.5 cm from the waist. That is back part. Remember, we're working on the back part. And I'll take 2.5 cm again away from the knee. I'm using my green marker to signify that that is the back part when we are tracing it. So what we are going to do now, we are going to use our curve, and we are going to curve from where we took away the 5, curve it right like so, meet up from where we took away this, and then curve it right down to the end of the skirt. So see how the curve has gone from there. You just curve it after removing the 2.5 right there. You now curve it down to the 2.5 we removed at the knee. Then you curve it to the end of the skirt. So essentially that is the video on how to make your long African skirt. If you have any challenges, just watch the video several times, and I'm sure you'll be able to make your very own long skirt block. The most important thing is use different colors of your marker so that when you're tracing out your back and your front, you will not have any challenges whatsoever. Thank you so much for watching, and don't forget to subscribe. As I said, if you have any challenges, just write your comments and I'll get back to you as soon as possible. Thank you so much. Till the next video.